Let's talk today about how to read the labels on your products. So we're going to go through the 6 key features that you want to look for on your containers or on your packages, however those packages are, and understand how to dose the math, how to figure out the dosing, and how to label your own products. So let's dive into looking at these different products. So I have, this one is a Tantalus Lab product, Blue Dream. And then I have a Pure Sun Farm Pink Kush. So these are dry flower. And then I have a CBD 25 from Emerald. This is an oil. And then I have another oil from Versa. This is a 1 to 20 CBD. And so just recently the labeling has changed a bit. So if you've got some older product, this is an older container of CBD Shark Shock from Blisco, and they were labeling things quite a bit differently last year, and the new products are starting to roll out, and so it's important to understand how to read those. So let's start with dry flower. And when you are looking at a package of dry flower, you're going to notice that first we're going to look at the strain type. So this one says it's a Pink Kush and it's an indica strain, so that's the first thing you're going to look for, whether it's indica or sativa, and that is how we're still labeling things as indica and sativa, so we kind of need to know what those mean. And then we're going to look at when it was packaged on. So this one was packaged on, so on the back here. If you have a package of cannabis purchased from an LP or a dispensary, you're welcome to go grab it and then go through it with me as well so that you can follow along. So this one was packaged on 2020-12/02, so December 2nd, 2020, and it has a lot number on there. Now the packaged on date doesn't mean the harvest date, that just means the date it got in the package. So when we're buying from government weed, we really don't know how fresh it is. We don't. So often there is an expiry date on these as well, but it's not required by Health Canada. So I'm looking at some of these, actually none of them have an expiry date. They don't. Yeah, so this one, Pure Sunfire, says no expiry date has been determined. So basically you're going to open it up and smell it and see and feel it, the texture and all of that, and see how you like it. This one's has a seal, so you kind of have to, it's a really good seal. It keeps it really fresh, but it's tricky to get in. So you're going to check for freshness when you get your cannabis. This one smells really lovely. Yes. You'll also notice this stamp. So this is the official Canada stamp. So anything that is purchased through a government store will have that stamp on it. This one must have had it on the package, or maybe they're different on the oils. So this one also has it. It was purchased a while ago. So you'll want to watch for that if you want government weed. Watch for that stamp. Also, you're going to look for the weight. So this one is 3.5 grams, so that's how much is in here. This one is 3.5 grams as well. And then you're going to look at the warnings. So if it has THC in it, it will have this symbol. And I think all of these have CBD, even the ones that are, that one's hard to see, sorry, that are have CBD in them. If they have a little bit of THC, remember this was our 20 to 1, then it has a little bit of THC, so it does have that THC warning. There will also be warnings for children and impairment, so have a look at those. Everybody's warnings are different, a little bit different. This one says the higher the THC content of a product, the more likely you are to experience adverse effects and greater levels of impairment. THC may cause anxiety and impair memory and concentration. So that's the warning there. This one says, do not drive or operate heavy equipment after using cannabis. Cannabis can cause drowsiness and impair your ability to concentrate and make quick decisions. Also says keep a reach of children, and also recyclable. So there wasn't, some of the containers don't have a recycle thing on the bottom. These two do. This one does. This one does. But they are, this one says right on it, it is for recycle, you can recycle it. There's no expiry date determined on this one either. And then you're going to look at the cannabis content. Does it have THC, CBD? What is it that you're looking for? What cannabinoids are listed, and what are you looking for? And then you're going to look for the LP. And so that's the person who sold and grew and sold the flower. So this one's Pure Sun Farms, and everyone should have the name, the Pure Sun Farms LP name, and their phone number, and how to contact them. So if you have any questions about this product, the lot number also is helpful to have on hand if you want to call and talk to them. Most are really good. I've called a few, and they've been super receptive. You got to look at the fine print and really look for it. So this one, the Tantalus, is right on the very bottom, just fine print, but their name, email address, and phone number are all on there. This one from Emerald is, yes, it also has it on there. So you got to be tricky. There's a lot packed in to these labels, so do read them really well so that you know what they're saying. Yeah, this one does as well. It's from Verse, and it has their name and phone number on it also. So other products that aren't from an LP have way prettier packaging. So they won't have the stamp on them. So that means that they're usually from the legacy market, and they will tell you though what their serving size is. So this one you can see is an indica, and it's a 220 milligrams of THC for the whole container. And so per serving, it's 10 milligrams per serving. And it has its information on the bottom. It's also certified organic, and then tells you the instructions on the back on how to get that 10 milligram dose. So this is how you'll know, I guess, is if it's a legacy or if it's from the government store, is from that stamp. And one of the other things that's changed a little bit is how to read the packaging. And so let's go through the Tantalus one first, and then we'll do the oils, because these ones tend to be a bit more trickier to understand. So what's listed on your container, I hope you have one close by because it's really hard to show you here, but you'll have a THC amount and a CBD amount, and then a total amount of THC and a total amount of CBD. So there's two different numbers on there. So the first one is generally just says, this one says THC, and that's the amount of active cannabis in here that has not been decarbed or activated. So it's just the raw cannabis. So this one's 1.7 milligrams per gram. And then the total, which is 173 milligrams per gram, or 17.30%, that's the potency for the predicted potency for your consumption. So when you're inhaling this, you're going to be looking at a 17.3% potency of THC. In the CBD, it starts with less than 0.1 milligrams per gram, and the total CBD is 0.7 milligrams per gram, or 0.07%. So it's quite small, not even 1% of CBD in this, so it's mostly THC. When you're looking at this one, the Pure Sun Farms, it has, the THC is 6 milligrams per gram, so it's a bit higher than this one, because this one was 1.7. And then the total THC is 196 milligrams per gram, or 19.6%. So when you see the total amount, you can change that to percent, and then that gives you an idea of the potency that you can expect when you're consuming it. So this one was 17%, this one is 19%, so a little bit higher. You're going to see 20%, maybe upwards of 30%, but generally around the 20% range is most common. CBD is 0 on this one, so there's 0 CBD, and total CBD is 0%. So there's no CBD at all in this. So when you are looking at your oils, so it's not going to have two different numbers. They're both going to be the same because it's already been decarbed. So do you remember when we talked about decarb in the other video? I'll link it to you for you below so that you can review it again. So when we decarb our raw flower, it activates it and makes the medicine potent and ready to go. So on our raw flower, it's not activated yet. So that's why you have two different numbers. One is the inactive amount and the other is the active amount. But in our oils, it has been decarbed and it has been activated. And so those numbers are going to be the same. So this one was CBD 25. So it says the THC is 0.9 milligrams per mil. and that's going to be standard in the total as well, 0.9, and then 25.1 milligrams per mil, and that's going to be the same as well. So that's where we get the 25 to 1 on this, 25 parts CBD and 1 part THC. And so this one came with, it came with a syringe, and so that's how we, previously in the last number of months, you would usually have a syringe that would come with your oil, and then you can just draw it up and use the markings on the syringe. These ones are from the drugstore, so you can get these anywhere, and I encourage you to have a stack on hand, because the new oils, Health Canada has just changed the packaging for these new oils, and they now come in a dropper bottle. So you have to push this down. It's child lock, of course. Push it down while you're turning it to get it open, and see, I didn't even get it yet. It's still turning, so I might need to press it down here a bit so you can see. So press that down and turn. If you have arthritis or any joint issues, anything like that, I encourage you to call Health Canada and tell them this is not functional. How are you going to get into this? And then we've got a dropper on the top. How many are really good at getting just one drop at a time? I know I'm not. I use essential oils a lot. They also have a dropper on the top. And often I will want 3 drops and I get 4. So what happens when we have droppers for our cannabis and we get an extra drop? Sometimes that extra drop makes a big difference for us. So I really want to encourage Health Canada to move back into the syringe. And if they don't, this is what you can do. So grab this lid, put it on top. Wait, before I do this, okay, so I'm going to tell you how to get the topper off easily. But before that, I do that, I want to do the dosing first so I don't tip this bottle and spill it. So the dosing on this, so it says that it is THC per activation is less than 0.1%, and the total CBD per activation is 0.5 milligrams. And so, actually, sorry, that they do have different amounts. So that's the amount before it's been activated, and then the THC, active THC is 1 milligram per gram, and CBD is 20 milligrams per gram. And so these ones say 25 milligrams per mil, and so that helps you to know when you're dosing a mil, you're going to get 25 milligrams of CBD for 1 mil. This one says per gram, and so again, Health Canada has changed the labeling on this to milligrams per gram. But what they're saying is that it's pretty much the same, just convert it into mils. So this says 20 milligrams per gram. I'm going to convert it into 20 milligrams per mil. It doesn't really sound like really good science to me, but that's what they're saying is pretty comparable, mils to the grams. So just in your mind, if you're used to working with mils, then dose it that way. Just convert it into mils in your mind. So also this has a dosing suggestion on here, which is nice. So it says 2 drops is equal to 1 milligram of CBD. So if you wanted to take 10 milligrams of CBD, you would need 10 drops. So basically, no, you need 20 drops. So it's 2 drops per 1 milligram. So you need 20 drops. So if you're having a higher dose than that and you're needing 40 drops, you're going to be here for a little while dropping those drops. So that's why I like to go to the syringe. You can also, this is another one that I bought that I really like because it's really easy to dose. It pulls it up really nicely, and is easy to clean too. I have this small little brush that goes in there. So let's pull the lid off of this one, and then I can show you how to put the topper on it. So, sorry, I got started before I told you what I'm doing. So I loosened this off, and then I'm going to use it as a lever to pop up that plastic piece. Now, when it's brand new, it's never been popped before, it's going to take a little encouragement, and it shouldn't be too hard to pop it up. Oh, I screwed it. Okay, let's grab another lid. This is from another oil bottle, which will work just as well. And once you've got a little bit, so then now it's popped, it's up a little bit, then I'll take something not too sharp. So this is my cannabis tool, and just lift it up, lift it the rest of the way, and there it is. Okay, so it shouldn't be too difficult to do. And then I have another drop. This one doesn't have markings on it, but if you're doing drops, then it's easier to do a drop from here. And this will fit right into there, and then I'm good to go. So I've just hacked it myself and made it much more user-friendly. So do that, or get a syringe, but pop off that top so that it's accessible for you if you don't like those. All right, so we have gone through the key features that you want to be looking for on your cannabis containers. We have looked at understanding how to read the math, and then we're going to look at labeling your own products. So this is my own 20-to-1 CBD, and so I usually put my name on it, and then I also put on that it's a 20-to-1 so that I remember CBD, and it's a 25 milligrams per mil dose. I might put just a date that I made it, but I do have a journal book that it has all my dates in it. Usually these don't last me long enough to have to worry about the date. They usually they're gone fairly quickly, so I don't worry too much about it. But make sure you label your own products with the dose that you made and with the product that is in it. If you need some help with figuring out the dose, remember I use my T-check, so I'll link that video as well so you can review the T-check that I use to check the potency of my strains. So there we go. You know how to look at the key features, understand how to dose the math, and how to label your own products and keep track of it. So enjoy, and also remember that we're labeling our own products because our whole goal is to be able to make our own products. So keep tuned in. We're going to be doing some more workshops on making your own product as well. Take care. Cheers.